I remember the day that I found out I was undocumented. I got a call from an admissions office from a university that I had applied to. They wanted to see a green card. I was extremely embarrassed. My mother just started crying. In between her tears, she just started apologizing and told me that it was her fault and that she wanted a better future for us, and look at what happened.
That's Juan Escalante. When he was 11 years old, Juan and his family came to the United States from Venezuela, where life had become dangerous.
We were driving, and we stopped at a red light, and a man approaches the car, and he tells my mother if she doesn't surrender the car to him, he is going to pull out a gun and kill one of her kids in the car right there. We picked up everything, we sold all our toys, and just embarked on this journey.
Juan made it to college and graduated. But because he was undocumented, he couldn't work, and he worried about being deported.
Even like a trip to the grocery store, and you get pulled over, and that's it, it's game over.
But that changed in June of 2012.
Effective immediately, the Department of Homeland Security is taking steps to lift the shadow of deportation from these young people.
5 years, nearly 800,000 undocumented young people have been able to live in the U.S. without constant fear of deportation. That's all thanks to DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. It was started by President Barack Obama in 2012. It allows young immigrants who came to the U.S. illegally as children to apply for a renewable 2-year visa. That allows them to work legally in the U.S. and saves them from deportation. So, who qualifies? Those who have been in the U.S. since 2007 and came before they turned 16. And those who were under the age of 31 before June 15, 2012, when DACA went into effect. Applicants must be in school, have a high school diploma, or be a military veteran, and they must have a mostly clean criminal record. It's important to note, the status doesn't put participants on a path to legal permanent residency or citizenship, but it does mean these immigrants can get things like driver's licenses, credit cards, and open bank accounts.
In the 5 years it's been around, DACA has had a big impact on young undocumented immigrants. A survey of DACA recipients found nearly 70% got a job with better pay. More than 60% opened their first bank account. Nearly 65% bought their first car, and a similar share say that they've pursued educational opportunities they previously couldn't. But when these protections expire over the coming weeks, months, or years, they'll be back where they started before 2012. Unable to work legally and constantly at risk for deportation.
Critics say DACA is unconstitutional because Obama introduced it by executive action and without congressional approval. They also argue that DACA promotes future illegal immigration because it signals that if you come here illegally, there are ways to be able to stay. Ultimately, ending the program would remove 800,000 people from the U.S. workforce. And the left-leaning Center for American Progress estimates that if that happens, over the next decade, the economy could risk losing nearly $500 billion.